OneNet, as main result, will have, well, a living document on market design. And what does it mean? It means all those recommendations that we need to move from very fragmented and isolated markets towards markets in integration. And then we need to address a couple of challenges. And those important barriers are exactly what we're doing within OneNet. For example, we worked on market access, market participation, market operation, and obviously also the interoperability challenge. There are barriers, but there are obviously also solutions and recommendations that we checked within the different demos. But implementation is not easy. How do we get there?
Yeah, exactly. So we have these recommendations from the different work packages and all the work that happened. But if you really want to make these recommendations happen, you have enablers that make that it goes much quicker, like they catalyze these things, but you also have barriers that hold back these recommendations. So in the roadmap, we are also looking at these enablers and barriers. You have different types. You have technical ones, economic ones, regulatory ones, and we want to list them, make it very specific so that it is clear what needs to be done and what are the next steps. And so one of the things that we found out is that there is this balance between customization and harmonization. So harmonization is very important, but it can also kill innovation if you drive it too far. So we need to find this right balance. And then there's also different levels of intervention. You can intervene at the local level, at a national level, at a European level. And we found that European level is probably the most efficient one, but it also really depends on the type of recommendation or the solution. So we saw that if you are in the early stages of, for instance, market development and other developments related to that, such as a flexibility register, sometimes it's easier to start at a lower level to develop these and then build up, because you gain knowledge, you gain best practices, you can compare and see what is the best solution to implement that at the European level.
Exactly. And what also came out, which is very important, that although you might need to start local, it's also very relevant that there is an EU framework. A framework that drives this overarching investments and also incentives. Because if you just look at it at the national or individual level, there's not really an incentive to move ahead for these integrated solutions. And that's why some of the EU dimensions and policy initiatives are very relevant of the past months. And that's exactly where the solutions of OneNet go beyond and where we go after OneNet. We have, for example, the Grid Action Plan. We also have the new network code on demand-side flexibility, and obviously also the EU reform on market design. And of course, in support, also the digitalization of energy action plan. And what is important is that a lot of the solutions of OneNet are actually found back in those key EU, I would say, driving policy initiatives. For example, in the network code.
Yeah, exactly. So the network code, it wants to remove the barriers for demand-side flexibility to participate in flexibility markets. We've seen that there's a lot of barriers, and OneNet has actually addressed a lot of these barriers. So I think the main elements in the network code that were also addressed in OneNet, they are about aggregation, baselining methodologies, settlement, and submetering, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And in addition to that, also all the innovations that we did on TSO-DSO coordination, local market design are part of the network code, but a lot of these solutions, how you need to implement what's in those network code, they're part of the OneNet outcome. And that's definitely something that we would like to at least present to the audience and hope that it will be used for the upcoming discussions.